Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome back to another video. We're gonna go through another ChillCom today because I promise these won't be my only videos forever from now on. I have a load of other things I want to do, some what ifs and stuff like that. One, these are super easy and quick to put together, so it allows me time for live streaming and also playing Destiny 2. I apologize that that's coming before making videos. But I did ask on one of my previous ChillComs where I talked about Bayek's story within Assassin's Creed Origins. I asked whether you would want to hear my theories for the story of possibly the modern day, and a lot of people said yes and really enjoyed that, and thank you guys so much, appreciate that, that you just want to sit and listen to me talk rather than have any structure whatsoever, so I really appreciate that. So I thought what I'd do is I'd take this video today to talk about the modern day and my thoughts for where that could go. I think it could go in two different directions, so we're going to hop into both of them in this video. I could be a cunt and split it into two videos for maximum ad revenue, but I'm not going to, because I'm a nice, sweet boy and lad, although I likely will litter this video with ads. Please forgive me. I did, like I said in my last video, I did ask on Twitter if it was alright for me to add some more ads while we're having these awful, annoying issues with ads, and everyone seemed to be in favor of that since it helps out, and I really appreciate that, so that's good. I'll try to do them every, if it's like a short video, if it's like 15 minutes, I do them like every 3 minutes, because I feel like that's fair, but if it's 25 minutes, or something like that, I'll do them every 5 minutes, because I feel like that makes sense. And if it's a Kill Connor Club, they just go every half an hour, which is, I think that's nice. Hopefully everybody understands. I don't want to do it, like, it's difficult to just kind of voice it, so it's kind of like, I want to just have, you know, maybe 1 or 2 mid-roll ads, but it's difficult with how YouTube is now that, you know, sometimes I have to throw a few more in, and I do apologize. It's not something that I want to do, but it's kind of something I have to do just to help out the channel, to help me out, you know, that kind of thing. Hopefully YouTube will return to how it used to be, and everything can go great. Something that would help with doing less ads would actually be if everyone went over to, or anyone that can, would like to go check out patreon.com/asalways. It's obviously a way of funding me, but also you get a ton of extra stuff on there anyway, and extra privileges and things like that. So, you know, it's worth just stopping by, maybe just dropping $1 on there, and it all goes towards helping out the channel, helping out As Always, and helping out Kill Connor Club. But anyways, with that out of the way, I don't know, I just rambled on there for a little bit. We'll go ahead and we'll hop into my theories. So, there are, like I said, 2 ways that I think that this could go. I'll go through the first way, first, obviously, and then the second way after that. Anyway, the first way I think that it can go is by introducing Desmond's son as the protagonist of Assassin's Creed Origins' modern day. At the minute, I kind of feel like both these ways they might not do, but if I had to pick one, I'd go for Desmond's son over the other one, because I just feel like now we've seen the game, this is the way that it makes more sense, but the other way is a way that I would like nonetheless. So, Desmond's son, we know he's been introduced in the comics, been talked about since Brotherhood during The Truth, introduced by Jeffrey O'Harlem, nonetheless, in The Truth. And then talked about again in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and then introduced in the comics, the comic book series Uprising, I think it was. And it would make sense for me for him to be the protagonist of the Assassin's Creed Origins modern day. He's an instrument of the First Will since he's a sage, so he's got Aita's DNA in him, so, you know, there's that with his tie to Juno. It makes perfect sense for him to be somewhat the poster boy, I guess, for the instruments of the First Will, who's sort of leading them, being manipulated by Juno somewhat. And I think they'll be using the Animus to further Juno's causes. Now, we talked about this before, is that we don't necessarily know if this will be how it goes, because we really don't know enough about the story to comment on this. There hasn't been any clues towards it, but there also hasn't been any clues against it, so we're not entirely sure, but it makes sense to me that he could be looking for the Ankh. Now, we know Juno's trying to get herself a new body. We know that she wants a body for Aita also, and it makes sense to use the Ankh to do so, because once you've got a body, how do you get the consciousness in the body? Well, you use the Ankh of Eden, because what it does is it captures the consciousness and then allows you to transpose that consciousness into someone else. And if it's just a new body, then you can just take the consciousness of Aita, of Juno, and transpose it into one of those bodies. And so it makes sense that that will be the case, and the Ankh was last seen in Egypt, I believe, so, you know, that all makes sense there as to why you would be doing that. Everything sort of adds up. Now, as for Desmond's son, what kind of things can we see? I feel like seeing that assassin versus Templar struggle that Bayek experiences through the game could flip Desmond's son's opinion of the world that he's sort of in within the modern day. I think it mirrors it very nicely in terms of he sees the struggle that Bayek is having in Egypt. He sees the way that Bayek doesn't want people being used. He doesn't want the control over the people. He thinks that that's wrong. And you experience that. And the thing with the Animus is that we've heard before, like with Subject Zero, who experienced Aveline's memories, talked, this is in the AC4 Black Flag Modern Day, in one of the audio files. He talks about how it was strange experiencing Aveline's emotions and thoughts. The way that men looked at her and gave her attention, and, the way that sort of made her feel anxious, sort of thing. And he could feel that. And so that carried over and affected him when he left the Animus. And so Desmond's son could feel Bayek's emotions, his pain and his sort of want for peace and justice, and to not want people being controlled, his passion for that, because that's something we see in Bayek. He has a passion for the people and their sort of way of life, and for them to not be controlled. It's something that Bayek really has a passion for, and that could transpose then onto Desmond's son, who could then experience that and be like, whoa, fucking hell, I can feel this, like, Bayek's his emotions are now my emotions. And it could cause him to be like, well, I don't really want to further Juno's cause, because she's furthering something that I now don't like, because I've felt the way Bayek feels. And so that could give him some sort of confliction there between whether he furthers Juno's cause or whether he decides to go his own way, and that could add a lot of confliction there and some sort of complications to the story. It would be interesting. Especially having that confliction between him then being Desmond's son and also being Aita at the same time. It would really fuck with him, because you could have, like we know, which is really cool, in Assassin's Creed, what was it? Was it Unity? There was an audio thing, or was it an email thread? It was an email thread between some people at Abstergo or whatever, talking about a hack that had hit their servers. And I didn't find this out until just the other day, and it's really, really interesting. And it's really cool as well, that they'd had a hit on their servers, or on their Helix, or database, or whatever, like a hack. And they couldn't trace it, but all they could see is that they opened up every possible memory in their database simultaneously, but they did it 17 times and then stopped, which would obviously lead you to believe that it was Desmond, being Subject 17. Of course, that help from Clay, who's also within the Grey as well, which allows them to go through the network, also being like Abstergo's network and database. So it would make sense that Desmond hacked that with help from Clay, which is, one, it's awesome the way that he did it, but also I think it's pretty fucking cool that he has the power now to open and read the details and information of every memory on the database, and he did all of that simultaneously 17 times, and that's super cool. So it makes sense to me that Desmond could easily contact his son within the Animus. So that would mean that will also cause Desmond's son to be conflicted, being Aita, but also being the son of the person fighting Aita, essentially. So he's like two halves of the fight between, freedom and free will with the assassins, and then with Juno trying to enslave everyone with Aita's side. And that's the conflict you'd get with Desmond's son, and I think it could be really, really, really interesting storytelling if it's handled right, done by the right person, and if they just, get all the features in there correctly. And I think that'd be really awesome. Now, in terms of gameplay, obviously that will consist of talking to other instruments of the First World, getting little bits of dialogue here and there for the story and for the lore, talking with Juno possibly, and also things like sneaking and hacking into computers to eavesdrop, to discover plot points and things to do with the lore, little optional things here and there. And I think that would be really all you could get from sort of how old is Desmond's son, 13 now in 2017? If it's set in 2017, which I'm pretty sure it would be if they were going to do this story, which makes sense. And I think that's pretty much Desmond's son and the way they would do his story. in a little wrapped up there in a bow. So that's what I think we could get from that story. And now we'll go ahead and let's talk about what are my ideas for a secondary storyline within the Assassin's Creed Origins modern day. So as for my second way that the modern day could go, I think that this is incredibly less likely. It's like my sort of main way I'd like. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is sort of my, like, ideal. This is like my ideal modern day. It's something that I don't think they're gonna do because there's no reason for this to exist, or nothing points to this. It makes no sense. If they did do it, then I know they're watching my videos because it's so fucking specific. But I don't think this will happen. It's just really cool. So my idea, I've talked about this before, but I'll go in depth here in this video. So it would be this team of historians. They're super into history. They're a group of people. They can be ethnically diverse. It doesn't really matter because obviously it's Ubisoft, so things have got to be ethnically diverse. It's just a group. It's a group of kids just out of college. Okay, we're gonna stop there. It's just a group of people. They're sweet kids. It's people similar to what we got from Desmond, Rebecca, Sean, Lucy. That kind of group of people that are just they work well together. Less like Watch Dogs. Don't give us Watch Dogs. Oh, please fucking Christ, don't give us Watch Dogs. And they're good mates. They're all into history. That kind of thing. And they suspect, possibly, that Abstergo isn't necessarily the company everyone thinks it is. They don't have any evidence, but they're just kind of like, it's a little bit suspicious. Kind of like how Sean was, and he talks about his story in Assassin's Creed 2. And I think it could be similar to that. And so they have an Animus that they bought from Abstergo. And, you've got the typical good with technology character. Maybe change it so it's not the same sort of female Rebecca character. Maybe we should make it a guy just so it's different enough that it doesn't feel like it's copying it. But anyways, they've taken this Animus, they've hacked into it, so now they can get rid of all of the restrictions that are there in the Animus. And they get free reign over the Animus and Helix. And they link it up with some kind of other thing to give it a bit more power than just like a games console. And boom, there you go. Homemade Animus that they can use. And so you as the protagonist, you go into the Animus. And you relive the memories of Bayek to learn more about history and things like that. There's a reason they go to Egypt. I'm not entirely sure why just now. They could get some intel on something to do with Abstergo. They don't really know what it is, but it's something talking about Egypt. And they're like, let's explore Egypt in these memories. Let's see what's here. Or it could be that Desmond still has access to their Animus, even while they're, hacking it and stuff. So Desmond sort of points them in the direction of Bayek. He's like, hey, look, come here to Bayek. This is important. And just kind of forces them to go into those memories. So Desmond sort of, pushing them along because of some reason. We don't know why yet. I don't know why yet, but that could be a thing. And so it could be a sample 17 memory, subject 17 memory, one of Desmond's, which is Bayek. And that would explain the lovely cut on Bayek's lip. There. So there you go. So you're reliving Desmond's memories. This allows them to learn a ton of things about the war between the Assassins and the Templars, the instruments, Juno. With the Juno events and things like that, gives them knowledge of Juno, what she's up to, stuff to do with Aita, etc. But then there could also be little things here and there from Desmond dotted all over the place. Similarly to my first sort of theory, but this way it will be for people that don't know Desmond. And that Desmond's contacting these people specifically for some reason. I don't know why just yet, but it could be for some reason. It's just I don't know. Give me a reason in the comments. Why is Desmond contacting these people? Why could that be? Because at the minute I don't have a good reason. Maybe they have really good first Civ DNA. Maybe they have. I don't know why, to be honest, yet, but there's a reason, okay? Important reason that we find out in the next game, so I don't have to think of it now. And so they learn all of these various things. And obviously you go through the story. They're kind of doing it partially because they just want to explore Bayek's memories. So there doesn't have to be a huge reason. They're just like, this is just fun. It's just a good time. But at the same time, as you get further through the game, you're learning more and more things. You're like, okay, this is getting a little bit interesting here. It's getting a bit strange. And so all of that happens, and it leads them to find artifacts and temples and things. And what this leads is to the modern day. For them, when you exit the animus, you can exit whenever you want, talk to all the people, access, emails, things like that. Just explore this little area they've got. And that's sort of, the typical hub. However, at the end of the game, it doesn't have to be, a few times. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot, but, like, it could be at the end, or it could be a couple of times you do various things. Also, bleeding effect would take effect as well while you're doing this. You go to these various temples that you find, because either you get messages from First Civ, or Desmond tells you to do it, or whatever reason, you end up going to these temples in the modern day, because you're like, okay, well, let's go find these precursor temples. This is interesting. So you end up going to Egypt in the modern day. You drive out into the desert, you find these temples, and you get this Uncharted-style gameplay, which was very similar to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, where, you're exploring these ancient tombs and things like that. They're talking about the history. They're having a bit of banter here and there. It's all very interesting and things. Very, very Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn type thing. And you're going through all this stuff, and of course that gives you opportunities to give story and things like that, because you're going to be learning about the First Civ, you're going to be learning about the Pieces of Eden and all that kind of stuff, while you're parkouring your way through the ancient temples with all these cool puzzles and climbing things and stuff like that. And obviously your entire team could be climbing too. It doesn't have to be like in Assassin's Creed where Desmond was the only one that could climb and Lucy kind of could. It could be like your entire team can do all this stuff, very similar to Uncharted in a way. And this allows you to obviously navigate through these areas and stuff like that. And it's all very interesting. Like, I loved some of the stuff in Brotherhood where you were underneath the villa with Lucy, or you were going through the Colosseum and you reached all of these different areas in Brotherhood. That was all really, really cool shit. And that'd be really, really a nice way to go with the Assassin's Creed modern day, because I think Assassin's Creed 3, although a lot of people liked it, was a step in the wrong direction. I think the best stuff from Assassin's Creed was when it was mysterious and it was intriguing and it was about the history and stuff like that and exploration, which is why I think the stuff under Monteriggioni was fucking awesome, and the stuff where you're going through the Colosseum was really, really good. That was really good, perfect Assassin's Creed modern day actually. Whereas with Assassin's Creed 3, it was more trying to emulate Assassin's Creed's ancestor gameplay in the modern day, and I didn't really like it as much. I didn't think it worked as well. I think the most fun shit was when you were exploring, and it was intriguing, and there was all this mysticism, and it was mysterious and stuff like that. That was the best shit that was in the Assassin's Creed modern day, and that'd be something really cool to revisit with the new modern day. And, all of this ultimately would lead to them being tracked by Abstergo, because they've still got a tracker on the Animus or something, and they're like, shit, this has been hacked, and, shit, like, the entire time they knew, but they were monitoring it to see what they'd find out, and when they ultimately found it out, Abstergo also would go to Egypt at the same time, and so you'd have to fight enemies as well, and you're in this predicament, and then you're like, shit, why are we being tracked by fucking Abstergo? And you finally make it out after some awesome set pieces and stuff, maybe with a piece of Eden, or maybe just with knowledge that you found within the temple that only you know, because, like, it could be like a crystal ball scenario like AC3. You find the piece of Eden, you get a message, but then it disintegrates in your hand. You're like, what the fuck? And then you leave, you're driving away or whatever, and then you get a contact from, like, an unknown number, and it's like the assassin something. It's like William Miles or Sean Hastings or something giving you a place to come to, and it says like, we're the assassins, we will help you and stuff like that. And then that sets up the sequel, and this would really be my ideal game scenario, like, for a modern day. I just think this would be the perfect way of continuing on from that Desmond saga of stuff, picking up the gameplay that Brotherhood's modern day left off. I just think it'd work so nicely. I just think it'd be fucking great, and I think a lot of you will agree that the second theory for this sounds way more fun than the first theory. I think if they're going to do one, they're more likely to do the first style, but I think the second theory, it has a place in my heart. I really love it, and I really wish they'd do it. And if you're watching Ubisoft, there's not much you can do now, but like, god, that would just be so fucking fun. Oh my god, that'd be so fucking fun, especially if the narrative is like really good as well. So like, you get all this interesting shit, you get all this information, you're like, oh god, this is I'm so invested in the story and these characters. And then you get to meet up with the characters from the original modern day storyline, and they all come together, and then it pushes it forwards, and it's like, oh fucking god, they've just made such a good thing. Oh god, I wish that would be the case. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's gonna happen. Anyways, those are both of my theories for the modern day of Assassin's Creed Origins. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you prefer theory 1 or do you prefer theory 2? Do you have any theories of your own that I haven't mentioned? Because that'd be cool to hear about. So leave those all in the comment section below. Leave me topics for not just videos, but also for various ChillComs in the future. I promise I won't do loads of these all the time, unless you want them, in which case maybe I will. I don't know. It doesn't really help my creativity, but people keep telling me to do them, so I won't spam them out. I promise. I can't stand it if I do that, but I will do them here and there because people like them, and they're a good time to just get a theory out or just get a topic out or my thoughts or whatever. So there's that. So be sure to leave in the comment section below your wants for future ChillComs, but also just for video topics, for possible video essays, etc., etc. It'd be really, really helpful. That's it for this video, of course, and I'll see you all next time in the next one for some other sort of topic. I've got some what ifs coming, and I think I might have a what if. I don't want to promise anything, but I might have one coming tomorrow. We'll see. We'll find out. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you later.